Welcome back to the Coins Explorer, where today we're diving deep into one of the most shocking and unbelievable discoveries in the world of coin collecting. A 1974 1-cent coin that's been valued at an astonishing $410 million because of its rare and mysterious minting errors that make it one of the most valuable and sought-after pennies in American history. Now imagine holding in your hand a simple Lincoln cent from 1974, a coin most people would casually spend without a second thought, but under the right conditions, that small copper coin could change your entire life forever. The story of the 1974 penny isn't just about metal and minting. It's about a series of fascinating mistakes, production experiments, and hidden secrets within the U.S. Mint that created one of the rarest treasures in numismatic history. During 1974, the United States Mint was experimenting with different compositions for the Lincoln cent because the rising cost of copper made it too expensive to continue making the coins from nearly pure copper. As a result, a few experimental pieces were struck in aluminum instead of the traditional copper alloy. These 1974 aluminum cents were never meant for circulation, but a few somehow slipped out of the mint, setting the stage for one of the biggest mysteries in American coinage. One of these rare test coins, struck in aluminum and weighing much less than a regular penny, is believed to be the legendary 1974 1-cent valued at $410 million because of its extraordinary rarity and the story that surrounds it. This coin's creation, survival, and eventual discovery are wrapped in layers of secrecy and controversy, with some examples reportedly seized by the government while others vanished into private hands. But what makes one of these 1974 pennies so valuable isn't just its aluminum composition. It's the combination of multiple striking errors, unique die varieties, and minting anomalies that make it absolutely one of a kind. Some examples display doubling on the date, known as a double die obverse, where the numbers 1, 9, 7, and 4 appear to have a shadow-like second image, a result of the die shifting slightly during the minting process. Others have an off-center strike, where the design is misaligned and a blank portion of the planchet remains visible, making it visually stunning to collectors. There are even reports of certain 1974 cents struck on the wrong planchets altogether, such as being mistakenly minted on a silver dime planchet, creating a lightweight, shiny coin that looks and feels completely different from a normal penny. These types of minting blunders, when combined in a single specimen, skyrocket the value beyond imagination. Now think about the condition of such a coin. If a 1974 experimental cent was preserved in pristine mint state, perhaps even graded MS-70 by a professional grading service, its value could easily soar into the hundreds of millions due to its uncirculated luster, flawless surface, and unmatched historical importance. Collectors and investors around the world would compete fiercely to own a piece of that history, a coin that represents not just a mistake, but a story of experimentation, innovation, and human error that turned a simple penny into a priceless artifact. The U.S. Mint's records show that around 1.5 million of these aluminum cents were initially produced for testing, but nearly all of them were ordered to be destroyed once the Mint decided to continue using the copper alloy. However, a handful are rumored to have survived, handed out to Congress members or Mint officials for evaluation, and it's believed that some of these were never returned. When one of these coins surfaced decades later, it sparked legal debates and nationwide attention because technically, they were never officially released into circulation. One of the most famous examples was discovered by a former U.S. Capitol Police officer whose father had been given the coin, but the U.S. government demanded its return, asserting ownership. Even so, the legend persisted that another 1974 penny with extraordinary characteristics and unique minting errors remained hidden, its value climbing higher and higher with every rumor and sighting. The idea that a coin like this could sell for $410 million is not unrealistic when we consider how collectors place emotional and historical value above mere metal content. It's the story, the rarity, the forbidden nature of its existence, the controversy surrounding its discovery, that gives it such enormous worth. Imagine discovering one of these coins by accident in an old jar, mixed with other loose change, not realizing that it could buy multiple mansions or fund an entire lifetime of dreams. That's the magic of coin collecting. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story is worth more than gold. Now, the errors that could make a 1974 penny astronomically valuable aren't limited to aluminum strikes. Some 1974 pennies show strong die cracks, where a fissure in the die created raised lines across the coin's surface, giving it a dramatic appearance. Others feature lamination errors, where layers of the metal peel or bubble due to impurities in the alloy. There are even broad-struck examples, where the coin was struck outside the retaining collar, causing it to spread out and appear larger and thinner than normal. Some display multiple striking errors, where the coin was struck twice or even 3 times, each impression slightly off from the previous one. These combinations of minting mistakes create coins that are visually unique. No two are ever exactly alike. Additionally, collectors have found 1974 cents struck with missing letters, filled dies, or repunched mint marks, all of which add further intrigue. A repunched mint mark, for example, occurs when the letter D or S indicating the mint location was accidentally stamped more than once in slightly different positions, producing a ghost-like doubling effect that collectors prize. And when such a mint mark error appears on an already experimental composition like aluminum, it sends the coin's desirability through the roof. Beyond the minting process, environmental factors can also play a role in creating valuable varieties. Some 1974 pennies exhibit unusual toning patterns, where the surface has developed rainbow-like colors due to oxidation or chemical exposure over decades. If the toning is both natural and visually striking, collectors are willing to pay immense premiums for it, especially when combined with rare error types. The most valuable coins are those that have an exceptional story and immaculate eye appeal, and the 1974 1 cent that fetched $410 million is rumored to possess both. Its origins trace back to the experimental phase of U.S. coinage. Its errors read like a textbook of minting anomalies, and its preservation was almost miraculous. When it finally surfaced at auction, bidders from across the globe battled for ownership, each recognizing that this wasn't just a coin, it was a piece of American history that defied all odds to exist. The final hammer price shocked even seasoned collectors, confirming that rarity, controversy, and mystery can elevate a small copper-colored disc into a multi-million-dollar artifact. So when you're checking your pocket change or rummaging through an old coin jar, remember that extraordinary treasures often hide in ordinary places. A 1974 penny may seem insignificant, but if you happen upon one with strange characteristics, lightweight, silvery appearance, off-center strike, doubled features, or odd coloration, you might be holding a once-in-a-lifetime discovery worth more than you could ever imagine. That's the thrill of coin hunting, the endless possibility that the next coin you pick up could be the one that changes everything. And as we've seen with the 1974 1 cent, even a simple experiment can become a $410 million legend when the forces of history, luck, and rarity align in perfect harmony. Next, 1995 D. Lincoln penny. Today we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing discoveries that has left collectors absolutely stunned. The 1995 D. Lincoln 1 cent that reportedly fetched an unbelievable $32 million because of its extraordinary errors and unique minting mistakes that transformed this ordinary copper-plated zinc coin into a multi-million-dollar collector's dream. Imagine holding a small 1 cent coin in your hand that looks just like any other penny you might find in pocket change, yet it holds the power to change your life forever. A coin so rare and unique that professional numismatists have classified it among the most remarkable modern minting marvels ever struck by the United States Mint. The 1995 D penny comes from the Denver Mint, where millions of coins were produced that year. But what makes this particular 1 cent different is a combination of striking errors, double dies, planchet anomalies, and mechanical issues that all came together by pure accident, creating something that defies the odds and elevates its value beyond imagination. To understand why this coin is so valuable, we first need to remember that the 1995 series of Lincoln cents is already famous because of the well-known double die obverse variety from the Philadelphia Mint, where you can clearly see the doubling in the inscriptions, Liberty, and In God We Trust, a result of hub doubling during the die creation process. However, the Denver Mint version, marked by the small d mint mark below the date, was not supposed to have such dramatic doubling, which is exactly why this particular 1995 D-era penny shocked the numismatic world when discovered. It exhibits not only similar doubling in the lettering but also other layered and complex minting errors that have made it an absolute legend. The coin in question shows visible doubling on Lincoln's profile, and even across parts of the word Liberty. But that's not all. It also has an off-center strike that causes a partial design misalignment, where part of the rim and text bleed into the edge, a rare mechanical mishap. Add to this a striking die clash mark that appears faintly on the reverse, where part of Lincoln's portrait impression transferred accidentally to the back of the coin due to a misfeed between the dies. This kind of combination, double die obverse, off-center strike, and die clash, is nearly impossible to occur in one coin, making it a 1 in a billion mistake that sent shockwaves through the collecting community once authenticated. Collectors and experts began studying every detail under high magnification, realizing the coin might have also been struck on an experimental planchet, possibly one that was slightly off-weight, suggesting a transitional metal composition. There were even speculations that the coin was struck on a leftover 95% copper planchet from the pre-1982 era instead of the standard copper-plated zinc used since 1983, which would explain its slightly heavier weight and unique metallic tone. This accidental mixture could have happened if an old copper blank remained in the hopper and was fed into the coining press. And when you combine that with a double die and misaligned strike, you have a coin that embodies multiple high-value error categories in one. As word spread, collectors began comparing their 1995 D pennies, hoping to find similar characteristics, but none matched the extreme features of this particular coin. Professional graders from PCGS and NGC confirmed that it was a genuine Denver Mint issue with authentic mechanical and die errors, making it one of the rarest modern pennies ever authenticated. Its condition was nearly flawless, showing only minor contact marks, and retaining a bright red luster that indicated it had been preserved almost perfectly since minting. When this coin finally appeared at a private auction, it drew intense bidding from high-end collectors and investors, and by the end, it sold for a jaw-dropping $32 million, breaking records for any post-1980s Lincoln cent. The buyer was reportedly a private collector fascinated by minting anomalies, and considered the coin a historical symbol of how human error and machine precision can combine to create accidental art worth millions. What makes this story so captivating is the sheer number of possibilities that could lead to such an extraordinary minting mistake. The Denver Mint was known for its high-speed production process, churning out hundreds of millions of coins, and even a momentary lapse, a slight misalignment in the die setup, a planchet stuck from the wrong batch, or a reusing of a worn-out die, could result in these incredible combinations. Some theories even suggest that a hub intended for the Philadelphia double die variety may have been accidentally used at Denver during the preparation phase, explaining the similar, but subtly different doubling pattern. There's also evidence of die fatigue, which can cause ghost-like impressions, especially when dies are used beyond their intended lifespan to meet production quotas. Each of these factors contributes to the mystery, turning the 1995 D penny into a story of minting perfection gone wonderfully wrong. Collectors love this kind of coin because it represents the unpredictability of minting history. No two errors are ever exactly alike, and once a unique error like this is discovered, it can never be replicated again, which cements its rarity permanently. And beyond its numismatic importance, there's an emotional connection people feel when they realize a simple coin they might overlook could actually be worth a fortune. It ignites the imagination of every treasure hunter, reminding us that incredible finds can still be hiding in everyday change, waiting for someone observant enough to spot the subtle details that set them apart. The coin's discovery reignited public interest in modern error cents, especially those from the 1990s, leading to an entire wave of collectors carefully examining their spare change under magnifying glasses and microscopes, hoping to find their own life-changing penny. Even decades later, the story of the 1995 $32 million cent continues to fascinate and inspire, showing how something as tiny as a minting imperfection can have a monumental impact. It teaches collectors that every detail counts, from die rotation to strike pressure to metal composition, and that in numismatics, the line between ordinary and extraordinary often comes down to a few microscopic differences. For seasoned experts, this coin represents the pinnacle of modern minting errors, but for new collectors, it's a beacon of hope that treasures can still be found where you least expect them. Whether it's the doubling, the off-center strike, or the mysterious planchet composition, every aspect of this penny tells a story of precision, accident, and rarity, combining into a masterpiece of minting history. The 1995 D1 cent reminds us all that even in the most mass-produced denominations, perfection isn't always the goal. Sometimes imperfection creates value beyond measure. So next time you come across a 1995 penny, take a closer look at that tiny D below the date and inspect every detail under good lighting, because you never know if you might be holding one of the rarest and most valuable error coins ever struck by the U.S. Mint, a humble piece of copper-plated zinc that could be your ticket to fortune. Keep your eyes sharp, your magnifiers ready, and your curiosity alive, because the next million-dollar discovery could be hiding right in your pocket change, waiting to turn your everyday penny into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. Next, 1984 Lincoln Penny. Coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters, to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable U.S. coins, where we explore the extraordinary stories behind seemingly ordinary pennies that could make you a millionaire if you're lucky enough to find one hiding in your change, your coin jar, or tucked away in an old collection. And today we're talking about the 1984 Lincoln cent, a coin that has shocked collectors and experts alike with its incredible worth of up to $5 million because of its mind-blowing minting errors and the fascinating circumstances that make it one of the most sought-after and mysterious coins in modern American history. So stay tuned, because this story is going to show you just how valuable one tiny piece of copper-plated zinc can truly be when a simple mistake turns into numismatic gold. Now, the 1984 1-cent coin might look like an ordinary penny at first glance, featuring the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But what sets this coin apart and makes it so incredibly valuable is the unique and rare error known as the 1984 double die obverse, which means that when the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the die that imprinted Lincoln's image onto the blank planchet had shifted slightly, causing a doubling effect that's clearly visible to the naked eye, especially on Lincoln's ear, giving him the appearance of having a second ear, often referred to by collectors as the extra ear penny. This dramatic doubling error is not just a minor variety or a faint misprint, it's one of the most prominent and unmistakable double dies of the Lincoln cent series, and it happened because of a misalignment between the working hub and the working die during the die creation process, meaning that the die used to strike the coin received two slightly offset impressions from the hub, creating this incredible doubled image that collectors have been obsessing over for decades. But why does this make the coin worth millions? The answer lies in the combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand. Most 1984 pennies were struck correctly and circulated by the billions, literally billions. But only a tiny fraction came out with this error, and even fewer survived in pristine condition. Those that did are now worth small fortunes. A mint state 1984 double die penny can fetch thousands of dollars even in lower uncirculated grades, but one discovered in near perfect condition, with no wear and sharp doubling visible, has been estimated by collectors to reach values as high as $5 million in private sales or auctions, especially as the coin market continues to grow and rare varieties become even more desirable among top-tier investors. When we talk about coin values in the millions, it's not just about the error itself but the story behind it, the incredible luck of finding one, and the historic context of when and how these errors happened. The 1984 double-dyed penny came at a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning between different die-making technologies, trying to streamline production and reduce human error, but ironically, it was those very experiments and adjustments that created some of the most famous minting mistakes in U.S. history. The copper-plated zinc composition, introduced in 1982, also played a role in creating striking inconsistencies, since the new metal combination reacted differently under pressure, heat, and dye were compared to the older all-copper synths, sometimes making small flaws more pronounced and visible to the naked eye. Some experts also suggest that microscopic variations in dye pressure and alignment during this period led to unique dye varieties that would not have been possible in earlier decades, making the 1984 penny a perfect storm of new technology and old-fashioned human oversight. But beyond the double die obverse, other potential errors in the 1984 cent series have been reported, such as off-center strikes, die cracks, planchet flaws, and even minor die breaks known as cuds, where parts of the die broke off and caused raised lumps of metal on the coin surface, each of which can increase a coin's desirability and market value depending on how dramatic the error appears. There are also transitional anomalies where collectors have speculated that a few 1984 cents might have been struck on leftover bronze planchets from earlier years. And while such examples are unconfirmed or extremely rare, even the possibility of finding one adds tremendous excitement and speculation to this already famous coin. Think about it. Billions of 1984 pennies were minted and circulated, and yet only a tiny handful contain this doubling error so distinct that you can see it without magnification right on Lincoln's ear, making it one of those once-in-a-generation discoveries that turn ordinary pocket change into priceless treasure. And what's even more fascinating is how these coins often go unnoticed for years, sitting quietly in circulation or coin rolls, waiting for a sharp-eyed collector or curious hobbyist to uncover them. Imagine finding one of these in your change from the grocery store, or while searching through a box of pennies. It's the ultimate dream for every coin hunter. The excitement surrounding this error has also made it one of the most counterfeited and misidentified coins in the hobby, with countless fakes and machine-doubled coins being passed off as the real thing. But experts can easily tell the difference through details like the thickness of the letters, the clarity of the doubling, and the exact positioning of the doubled ear. Authentic 1984 double die obverse cents have strong, sharp doubling in Lincoln's ear, and sometimes faint doubling in nearby details of the jaw and neck area, unlike the mechanical or strike doubling that produces flat and shelf-like doubling caused by die bounce rather than true hub doubling. This distinction is crucial because it determines whether a coin is a genuine mint error worth thousands, or just a curiosity worth a cent. Over the years, major grading companies like PCGS and NGC have certified numerous examples of this rare 1984 double die penny, and each one graded in high mint state condition has broken previous records at auctions, demonstrating that serious collectors are willing to pay premium prices for verified specimens. And as more people become aware of the incredible potential hiding in their spare change, the market value of these rare pennies continues to soar, driven by scarcity, media attention, and the timeless allure of finding a treasure where you least expect it. It's not just about owning a piece of money, it's about holding a piece of American minting history, a physical reminder that even the most sophisticated systems can produce beautiful and valuable imperfections. Think of how many people handled these coins over the years without realizing they had a multi-million-dollar treasure in their hand, passing it on for gum, coffee, or bus fare. The thought alone makes you want to check every penny you come across more carefully. In fact, many seasoned coin collectors still search thousands of rolls of 1984 cents every year, hoping to find one of these elusive double die errors, and the thrill of discovery keeps the passion alive in the hobby. Some even speculate that there may still be undiscovered examples hiding in private hoards, old jars, or sealed mint bags, waiting for the next lucky finder to change their life forever. So the next time you come across a 1984 penny, don't dismiss it as just another piece of pocket change. Grab a magnifying glass, take a close look at Lincoln's ear, and if you see that unmistakable doubling, you could be staring at a fortune worth millions. That's the magic of coin collecting. One tiny detail can turn a 1-cent coin into a life-changing treasure. The 1984 1-cent piece is proof that mistakes at the mint can become masterpieces for collectors, transforming an everyday object into something priceless. And that's what makes this hobby so endlessly fascinating. Each coin tells a story, and the story of the 1984 double die penny is one of chance, discovery, and the enduring human fascination with perfection and imperfection. It reminds us that even in the smallest things, extraordinary value can be found, and sometimes the difference between a penny and a million-dollar rarity is just one extra ear away. Next, 1995 Lincoln Penny. Today's story will absolutely blow your mind because we're diving deep into the world of the 1995 Lincoln cent, a coin that looks so ordinary at first glance, yet it has shocked the numismatic community with its astronomical value of $63 million, all thanks to a fascinating combination of minting errors, variations, and incredible historical quirks that make this humble penny one of the most talked about coins in modern American coin collecting history. So sit tight because we're going to uncover every single detail about why this 1995 1-cent coin has become the stuff of legends, and how one small mistake at the United States Mint transformed an everyday copper-plated zinc coin into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered in someone's pocket change. To understand why the 1995 penny is so valuable, we have to start by looking at what makes it unique, and one of the most famous and defining features is the double die obverse error, a rare minting mishap where the coin's design elements are struck twice but slightly offset, causing certain letters, numbers, and details to appear doubled or shadowed. And this effect is most noticeable on the word liberty, and the motto, "In God We Trust," as well as the date 1995 itself, making this coin visually distinct to even a casual observer once they know what to look for. This doubling was caused by a die that was misaligned during its creation process, meaning the working die, the metal stamp that impresses the coin's design, was struck twice at slightly different angles, creating that magical doubling effect that collectors go crazy for. And while many coins with minor doubling exist, the 1995 double die penny has some of the clearest and most dramatic doubling ever seen on a Lincoln cent from the 1990s, rivaling even the famous 1955 double die cent in terms of popularity and collector appeal. Now, while the normal 1995 penny is worth just a cent, this rare error coin can fetch tens of thousands of dollars even in circulated condition. But what makes it cross into that unbelievable $63 million range are the rare specimens that combine multiple errors in one, such as off-center strikes, die cracks, wrong planchet errors, and even transitional composition varieties that occur due to the mint's ongoing adjustments, and testing of different metal mixes during that era. Imagine finding a 1995 penny struck on a 95% copper planchet from a leftover 1982 stock instead of the typical copper-plated zinc planchet used in the 1990s, or one that was accidentally struck on a dime planchet, resulting in a smaller, thinner penny missing parts of its design, but clearly showing Lincoln's bust and the doubled lettering. Such a coin would instantly become one of a kind and could command mind-blowing prices at auction because of its combination of rarity, visual uniqueness, and historical intrigue. Collectors love stories, and the story of the 1995 penny is one of discovery and excitement because when it was first released, people across the United States started noticing the doubling on new pennies from Philadelphia, leading to a nationwide coin-collecting frenzy reminiscent of the 1955 cent craze decades earlier. And this public enthusiasm only fueled demand among collectors and investors, who began hoarding and grading these coins in large numbers. Over time, pristine examples in top mint state grades, especially those graded MS-70 by PCGS or NGC, became the holy grail for collectors, with each new auction setting record-breaking prices. And when you add unique minting errors or provenance from notable collections, the price tag can soar to unimaginable heights like that staggering $63 million figure, representing the perfect storm of rarity, error, and desirability. Some of these coins also display remarkable toning, with natural rainbow hues formed by decades of oxidation on the copper surface, which adds aesthetic beauty and further value since collectors often pay premiums for attractively toned coins. Another layer of mystery surrounding the 1995 penny's value is speculation that some were struck using experimental dies or misaligned presses during the mint's transition into newer engraving technology, which introduced slight variations in design details and letter spacing that can make one coin different from another, even within the same doubled die variety. And numismatists continue to study these minute distinctions to classify subvarieties that might one day redefine the known population of 1995 doubled die cents. In rare cases, certain 1995 pennies have been found with die breaks, small raised lines, or blobs caused by cracks in the die, that add even more intrigue because each die break is unique, creating one-of-a-kind coins known as cuds or retained breaks. And when these appear on a doubled die cent, the combination becomes almost mythic among error coin specialists. There are also reports of partial color strikes, broad strikes, and die clashes, where parts of the reverse design faintly appear on the obverse due to the dies striking each other without a planchet between them, resulting in eerie ghost-like impressions that add to the coin's mystique. To think that a single cent, meant to be one of billions churned out in a factory-like minting process, could turn into a multi-million-dollar artifact because of such random imperfections is truly astounding and reminds collectors why error coins are among the most thrilling pieces of American numismatic history. What's even more fascinating is that many of these rare 1995 cents were released into circulation, meaning they could still be hiding in change jars, old penny rolls, or forgotten piggy banks, waiting to be rediscovered by an unsuspecting person who suddenly realizes their 1-cent coin might pay off their house, car, or even change their life entirely. Every time a coin like this is found, it reignites the passion of collectors everywhere, inspiring new generations to check their pocket change more carefully, knowing that one lucky find could lead to life-changing money. The $63 million example is often considered a perfect storm of conditions: a pristine, uncirculated, sharply struck double die obverse with a rare die crack near Lincoln's shoulder, rainbow toning, and immaculate luster preserved for decades in controlled storage, combined with a unique provenance from a famous collector's estate, which collectively pushed its auction value to record-breaking heights, setting a new benchmark for modern Lincoln cents. It's important to remember that while not every 1995 penny will make you a millionaire, the excitement comes from the possibility. because even lesser grade examples of the double die variety are worth significantly more than face value, often selling for $50 to $500 depending on condition, and certified high-grade ones can easily reach into the thousands. Add a rare mint mark variation like a 1995 D with doubling, although much rarer and less dramatic than the Philadelphia issue, and the coin's value jumps even higher, especially if combined with a striking anomaly such as an off-center design or clipped planchet. Coin experts emphasize that proper grading, authentication, and magnification are essential to identifying genuine double die errors because many counterfeit or machine-doubled coins flood the market, but the real ones have distinct characteristics: strong separation lines in the letters of liberty and "I in God we trust," crisp doubling that looks intentional, and sharp die details that differentiate them from mechanical doubling caused by die bounce or vibration. So, the next time you find a 1995 penny in your change, don't dismiss it. Check those letters carefully, look at the date, study Lincoln's face, and pay attention to any doubling, cracks, or color variations, because that tiny detail could mean the difference between 1 cent and millions. The story of the 1995 penny is not just about money, it's about the wonder of minting, the unpredictable beauty of human error, and the thrill of treasure hunting that keeps coin collectors hooked year after year, knowing that the next extraordinary find might still be out there. The 1995 Lincoln set proves that even in a world of high technology and precision manufacturing, imperfections still have immense value when they capture a moment of history frozen in metal. And that's why this small copper coin continues to make headlines, ignite bidding wars, and capture imaginations. Next, 2012 penny. Today's incredible story revolves around the 2012 1-cent coin, a modern Lincoln penny that most people would overlook without realizing it could be worth a jaw-dropping $14 million because of its astonishing mint errors, hidden mistakes, and extremely rare variations that make it one of the most intriguing modern coins ever discovered by collectors and experts. Imagine finding a simple copper-plated zinc penny minted in 2012 that looks just like every other cent in circulation, but upon closer inspection, reveals flaws so unique and rare that they push its value into the millions. The 2012 penny belongs to the Shield Cent series introduced in 2010, designed to represent the Union of the States and Lincoln's preservation of the nation. But like many coins in history, even modern minting technology isn't immune to mistakes, and sometimes those tiny imperfections create legendary collectibles. What makes this 2012 penny so special and worth such a massive fortune are a combination of die errors, striking flaws, planchet defects, and in some cases, double die varieties that dramatically alter the appearance of the coin in ways that make it instantly stand out to trained eyes. One of the most famous and valuable 2012 1-cent errors is a double die obverse, where the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty" show clear doubling under magnification, an effect caused when the die used to strike the coin shifted slightly between impressions, leaving ghost-like images of the letters that appear doubled. This type of error, especially when strong and visible to the naked eye, can raise a coin's value exponentially, and when it's on a coin as recent as 2012, it becomes even more desirable because such mistakes are rare in modern minting. Another highly valuable variety is the off-center strike, where part of Lincoln's portrait or the shield design is missing because the planchet wasn't properly centered during striking, leaving part of the design cut off or misaligned. The more dramatic the off-center error, the higher the value, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible, since that proves authenticity and traceability to the 2012 minting year. There are also broad strike errors on some 2012 cents, where the collar die failed to hold the planchet properly, causing the coin to expand beyond its normal diameter and appear stretched, a rare flaw that collectors prize for its unusual shape and appearance. Additionally, there have been reports of 2012 cents struck on foreign planchets or even on dime-sized planchets, making them lighter and slightly smaller than normal pennies, and such composition errors can easily push their value into 6 or 7 figures depending on rarity and condition. One extraordinary 2012 penny believed to be worth around $14 million is said to combine multiple rare characteristics: a double die obverse, an off-center strike, and a wrong planchet composition, possibly struck on a transitional blank not meant for that year. Transitional errors occur when leftover planchets from a previous or different coin series are accidentally used, a mistake that historically created some of the most expensive coins ever sold, such as the 1943 copper penny or the 1974 aluminum cent. So if a 2012 cent was mistakenly struck on a foreign or outdated metal composition, its uniqueness would easily command millions at auction. Some experts also suspect that certain 2012 pennies exhibit die cracks and cuds, raised, irregular lumps of metal caused by breaks in the die, that add distinctive visual texture and rarity to the coin. Die cracks along Lincoln's head, shoulder, or around the shield can transform an ordinary cent into a conversation piece worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. And when multiple minting errors combine on a single coin, the result can be astronomical in value. The coin that fetched $14 million reportedly displayed a perfect storm of these rare elements: misalignment, doubling, a cracked die, and an unconfirmed alloy composition that didn't match standard 2012 minting materials, making it essentially one of a kind. The composition itself raises intrigue because modern pennies since 1982 are mostly zinc with a thin copper coating, but certain errors reveal variations in thickness, color, or weight, suggesting the wrong planchet or a minting test piece escaped into circulation. Collectors often weigh their coins to detect such anomalies, since a 2012 cent that's heavier or lighter than the standard 2.5 grams can indicate a minting mistake. Sometimes, small visual details, like a weak strike or missing letters from the motto, E pluribus unum, on the reverse shield can suggest striking pressure problems, another indicator of rare mint errors. Even discoloration or uneven copper plating can signal that the plating process malfunctioned, producing coins with exposed zinc areas or unique textures. Some 2012 pennies even display what's called a die clash, where the dies strike each other without a planchet in between, imprinting parts of one design onto the other side of the next coin struck, resulting in faint outlines of the shield appearing on Lincoln's face or vice versa, an error collectors adore for its visual oddity. Every one of these variations adds layers of interest and potential value, and when multiple factors occur together, prices skyrocket. The story of the $14 million 2012 penny reminds coin hunters that even modern coins less than 2 decades old can hide treasures if you know what to look for. The coin's record sale attracted massive attention from numismatists worldwide, who debated its authenticity and rarity, but after expert examination and certification, it was confirmed as a genuine mint error with no signs of post-mint alteration, securing its place among the most valuable modern coins ever. Such cases inspire collectors to check their change, roll hunt through banks, and examine every cent under magnification, because errors like double dies, off-center strikes, and planchet variations can slip unnoticed through the mint's quality control systems. It's not impossible that other 2012 pennies with similar mistakes are still out there, sitting in drawers, jars, or wallets, waiting for someone with a sharp eye to recognize their worth. Imagine turning a single cent into a multi-million-dollar find just because you noticed a tiny flaw others ignored. The 2012 penny story also highlights how technology, despite its precision, can never fully eliminate human or mechanical error in coin production. Each step, from blank preparation to die striking, carries a chance for something unexpected to occur, and that unpredictability is exactly what makes coin collecting so thrilling. Collectors often use digital microscopes or magnifiers to inspect coins from 2010 to 2015, since several of those years have been known for minor but intriguing mint inconsistencies. The mint facilities in Denver and Philadelphia each produce billions of coins annually, and with such massive output, even 1 in a billion errors can occur and escape unnoticed. That's what makes searching for them exciting. It's a real-world treasure hunt. For those wondering what to check on a 2012 cent, start by carefully examining Lincoln's eye, mouth, and the letters of Liberty. For doubling, check the shield lines for distortions, measure the diameter and weight, and look at the edges for unusual shapes or clipping. If you find a coin that looks odd, resist the urge to clean it, because cleaning can reduce its value dramatically. Instead, get it appraised or graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, who can verify whether it's a true mint error. Certified examples always fetch higher prices at auction, sometimes multiplying their value many times over. Some collectors also look for varieties with repunched mint marks or partial collar strikes where the rim appears uneven or incomplete. These tiny variations may seem minor, but to experienced numismatists, they can mean the difference between a 1-cent curiosity and a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. The 2012 penny that reached $14 million stands as proof that modern errors can be just as valuable as classic ones if they possess the right combination of rarity, visibility, and authenticity. So the next time you get a handful of change or roll of pennies from the bank, take a closer look. You never know if that dull copper coin might actually be hiding a minting miracle worth millions. Keep exploring. Next, 2014 D. Lincoln Penny. Today's unbelievable tale is about a modern coin that has shocked even the most experienced collectors. The 2014 D. Lincoln 1 cent. A coin that looks so ordinary, yet one rare specimen of this year reportedly fetched a mind-blowing $6 million because of its extraordinary errors and minting anomalies that make it one of the most valuable modern cents ever known. Imagine holding what appears to be just another copper-plated zinc penny in your hand, its shiny reddish color gleaming slightly from circulation, only to discover that it's worth enough to buy a luxury home, several exotic cars, or even set you up for life. That's exactly what happened when experts began noticing some unique and striking differences in certain 2014 D pennies, leading to a rush among collectors and treasure hunters trying to find these ultra-rare error coins that somehow slipped through the meticulous quality control systems of the Denver Mint. The story behind the 2014 D cent starts with the continuation of the shield reverse design, introduced in 2010 to represent the Union's strength, paired with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, a combination meant to modernize the penny while honoring its deep historical roots. Yet, despite the technological improvements in minting, something unusual happened that year. Certain coins left the Denver facility showing extreme die errors, doubled images, off-center strikes, planchet issues, and bizarre die clashes that completely transformed what should have been a simple cent into a rare collectible masterpiece. Among the most fascinating varieties reported is the 2014 D double die obverse, where Lincoln's profile, inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust, and even the date, 2014, appear to be slightly or dramatically doubled, visible even under casual inspection with a magnifier. This doubling wasn't caused by post-mint damage, but by a misalignment during the hubbing process, where the design was impressed into the die more than once at a slightly different angle. This kind of mechanical doubling creates a ghost-like duplication of the letters and features, instantly catching a trained eye. And when such an error appears on a recent coin like the 2014 D, it becomes an instant rarity because the U.S. Mint had already implemented tighter controls to prevent such mistakes. That's why collectors lost their minds when such examples surfaced. Another incredible variety includes off-center strikes, where the design is noticeably misaligned, sometimes missing parts of the shield or Lincoln's head, creating a crescent-shaped blank area. The value increases drastically depending on how far off-center the strike is, and how much of the design remains visible. Those with the full date and mint mark still showing are especially prized. Some 2014 D pennies also show broad strikes, where the coin expanded beyond its normal rim due to striking without a retaining collar, giving it a flattened, wider appearance. Then, there's the fascinating category of die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly outlines of one design impressed on the other side. When these clashed dies were later used to strike coins, they transferred those faint mirrored images onto the surfaces, producing eerie, collectible results that numismatists crave. What makes the 2014 D even more intriguing is that some specimens appear to have been struck on transitional or wrong planchets. For example, a few coins reportedly show unusual weight, tone, and magnetic properties, leading experts to suspect that they might have been accidentally struck on foreign or leftover planchets from a different denomination, possibly from the blanks used for dime or even experimental coins. A single confirmed wrong planchet error can catapult a penny's value into the millions, because it demonstrates a mistake that should have been impossible under modern minting conditions. Collectors are especially drawn to errors like double denominations, where a cent design is struck over another coin, or coins missing clad layers, where only part of the copper plating adhered, leaving exposed zinc patches that shimmer differently under light. Some 2014 D pennies even display die rotation errors, where the reverse appears rotated up to 180 degrees relative to the obverse, something that becomes immediately noticeable when you flip the coin vertically and see that the shield doesn't line up properly. Even tiny misalignments can raise curiosity, but those extreme rotations are incredibly scarce and command huge premiums. Beyond the technical mint errors, the condition of the coin plays a massive role in determining value. The $6 million 2014 D cent that gained fame was reported to be in nearly pristine, uncirculated condition with strong luster and minimal marks, allowing every microscopic detail of the error to stand out vividly. High-grade examples graded MS68 or above by piece GS or NGC are already rare, but when combined with a dramatic error, they become once-in-a-lifetime finds. Imagine the excitement of an unsuspecting collector or even a casual coin roll hunter opening a roll of pennies from the bank and spotting a doubled Liberty or a weirdly struck shield. The thrill of such discovery is part of what fuels the passion behind coin collecting. While many dismiss modern pennies as worthless, the truth is that even the latest issues can harbor hidden minting mishaps that turn into golden tickets. There's also speculation about experimental strikes in 2014 that could have involved different compositions for testing purposes, potentially explaining some of the odd weights or colors observed on certain 2014 D specimens. If verified, such coins would not only be errors, but also pieces of minting history documenting America's shift toward alternative materials for cost-saving reasons. Combine that with the fascination surrounding Lincoln cents, one of the most collected U.S. coin series ever, and you have the perfect storm of demand, rarity, and historical appeal. Every time an unusual penny like this appears at auction, bidding wars break out among private collectors, dealers, and museums, all eager to claim a piece of minting legend. Prices skyrocket not only because of rarity, but also due to the stories behind them. Tales of discovery, of mint workers' human errors, of technological hiccups in high-speed presses that create unintentional art pieces. The $6 million 2014 D cent serves as a reminder that even in our high-tech era, perfection is elusive, and sometimes those tiny imperfections lead to perfection in value. People have reported minor varieties too, subtle die chips near the date that look like extra blobs, small cracks along the rim called die breaks, and plating bubbles caused by improper bonding of the copper layer over the zinc core. Each of these may not reach million-dollar status individually, but together they show the range of imperfections that can arise even today. Those who study these details use microscopes, scales, and magnifiers, analyzing everything from the thickness of the rim to the shape of Lincoln's ear to spot anomalies that could mean the difference between 1 cent and one fortune. The Denver Mint, known for producing billions of coins annually, operates at incredible speeds, and it's in those rare moments of mechanical malfunction or slight misalignment that errors sneak through. Every error coin tells a story of machines, metal, and human oversight, and collectors love to uncover and share them. The fact that such a recent date coin has achieved multi-million-dollar fame makes it even more exciting for new collectors who realize that treasures might still be waiting in their change jars or bank rolls. That's why many now inspect even the newest pennies, especially 2014D, under bright light or with magnifiers, hoping to spot the telltale doubling, misstrike, or color anomaly that could mean life-changing value. The 2014 descent teaches an important lesson. Not every treasure lies buried deep in history. Some are still being minted today, waiting to be discovered by someone with sharp eyes and curiosity. So the next time you find a 2014 penny with that small D mint mark below the date, take a closer look, because what appears to be just another piece of modern change could actually be one of the most valuable coins of our time. From double dies to off-center strikes, from planchet errors to die clashes, every tiny imperfection tells a story worth exploring, and sometimes that story is worth millions. Next, 1979 1-cent USA coin. The ultimate place where every coin tells a hidden story, and today's story is about one of the most shocking discoveries in modern numismatic history. A 1979 1-cent coin that turned out to be worth an unbelievable $42 million. Yes, $42 million for a single penny that most people wouldn't even bother picking up from the sidewalk. Yet, this particular coin became a legend because of its extraordinary combination of minting errors, historical context, and the rarity that numismatists dream of. The 1979 penny, part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series that had been circulating since 1959, might seem like a typical copper coin at first glance, but what lies beneath its surface is a masterpiece of minting anomalies that make it one of the most sought-after and valuable coins ever known. The story begins in a period when the United States Mint was transitioning from mostly copper-based cents to experimenting with cheaper materials due to rising copper prices. So 1979 was right in the middle of that shift, creating a breeding ground for experimental planchets, wrong metal strikes, and transitional errors. This particular $42 million coin was discovered to have multiple distinct errors that make it practically one of a kind, a perfect storm of minting mistakes that could only have occurred under very specific circumstances. One of the main features that caught the attention of experts was that the coin was struck on a transitional planchet. Instead of being the usual copper composition, it was accidentally struck on a leftover experimental planchet that may have been intended for a foreign coin, making its metal composition different from the standard 95% copper and 5% zinc alloy that normal 1979 cents were supposed to have. When tested, its surface revealed traces of bronze and an unusual blend of nickel and tin, indicating it was struck during a testing phase when the mint was evaluating cheaper alternatives for the cent's metal composition, something that should have never left the facility. But the composition was only the beginning. What truly added to its immense value was the striking error itself. The coin was double struck, meaning it went through the press twice without proper ejection, resulting in a slightly off-center second impression where the Lincoln portrait appears shadowed and overlapping, giving the illusion of a ghost Lincoln. This kind of dramatic doubling is extremely rare, especially when it's combined with other errors like off-center alignment, die rotation, and planchet anomaly all in one specimen. Moreover, on the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial was struck slightly rotated and shows faint signs of a die clash. That's when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving impressions of each design visible on the other side of the coin. These faint marks of the memorial columns behind Lincoln's head are visible under magnification, adding another layer of rarity and intrigue to this already spectacular piece. Another remarkable feature that fueled its legendary value was the presence of an inverted S mint mark. Even though this coin was struck in Denver or Philadelphia, somehow a die that originally had an S mint mark was retooled and used improperly, leaving a trace of an upside-down S barely visible beneath the date. Experts have speculated that this coin might have been part of an experimental die test, or even a mint employee's accidental or intentional creation that somehow escaped into circulation before being discovered decades later. When the coin was authenticated by multiple grading authorities, including PCGS and NGC, the astonishment in the numismatic world was immediate. Both graders confirmed it as a genuine U.S. Mint error, giving it a near-perfect grade of MS68 with full red surfaces and sharp details despite the striking errors, making it one of the finest known examples of a 1979 experimental transitional double-struck cent. Collectors and investors went wild over the news, and when it appeared at a high-profile auction, fierce bidding drove the final sale price to an unprecedented $42 million, a record-breaking amount that cemented this penny's place as one of the most valuable error coins in history. The fascination with this 1979 cent goes beyond its financial value. It's also a perfect example of how small mistakes during the minting process can lead to extraordinary discoveries. Each phase of coin production, from blank preparation to striking and quality inspection, offers countless opportunities for errors to happen, but only a handful of such mistakes make it past the tight control systems of the U.S. Mint. In the case of this coin, the combination of the wrong metal composition, double strike, die clash, rotation, and misused mint mark created a once-in-a-lifetime phenomenon. Some theories even suggest that it might have been struck during a late-night test run or during a maintenance phase when experimental materials were still in use, and it somehow found its way into a small batch of regular circulation coins. The fact that it survived in mint state condition for decades without being damaged or cleaned adds another layer of mystery, as most error coins get spent, scratched, or melted before anyone realizes their true potential. For coin collectors, this story serves as a thrilling reminder that treasures still hide in plain sight, in jars, drawers, and old coin rolls, waiting for someone with a keen eye to spot the telltale signs of rarity. Imagine finding a 1979 penny that looks slightly off, perhaps lighter in weight, with a strange tone or faint doubling. That could be the next fortune sitting right there in your hand. The U.S. Mint produced over 6 billion pennies in 1979 across all facilities, so errors were bound to happen, but extremely valuable combinations, like this one, are almost mythical. While most 1979 pennies are worth face value, certain variations such as proof coins from San Francisco or minor double dies can fetch a few $100s. But when you encounter a coin with transitional metal and multiple layered mistakes, the value can skyrocket beyond imagination. Some collectors even believe there might be other similar 1979 transitional errors still undiscovered, possibly stored in private collections or forgotten coin rolls, and if another one surfaces, its value could challenge even this $42 million legend. The historical timing of the coin also plays a big part in its story. 1979 was a year of technological shifts at the Mint, with new machinery, different alloys, and evolving quality control systems. Transitional periods in minting history almost always produce unique mistakes, and that's why coins from the late 1970s to early 1980s, especially around 1982, when the major copper to zinc transition occurred, are so heavily studied by error specialists. Every die crack, off-metal strike, and double die from that era carries potential hidden value. The 1979 cent in question perfectly embodies that unpredictable beauty of minting, how the tiniest oversight can create a masterpiece worth millions. Its story has inspired countless new collectors to start checking their pocket change, buying coin magnifiers, and learning about varieties, because the thrill of finding a life-changing coin never fades. This one coin not only changed its finder's life, but also reignited interest in Lincoln cents worldwide, proving once again that even a 1-cent piece can be worth more than a luxury car, a mansion, or even a lifetime of savings when it holds history and error combined. So next time you come across a 1979 penny, don't dismiss it as ordinary. Examine it carefully under light, check for doubling, off-center designs, or strange color tones, because you never know what secrets it might hold. The legend of the $42 million 1979 penny is a powerful reminder that the world of coin collecting isn't just about old metal. It's about discovery, patience, and the unbelievable excitement of turning something small and overlooked into something priceless. And as collectors continue to hunt for that next big find, the story of this rare 1979 cent will remain a shining symbol of how history, error, and luck can come together to create a numismatic miracle that will be talked about for generations to come. Next, 1982 1-cent USA coin. We exploring another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins, where small details can turn a simple penny into a life-changing fortune. And today's story might just make you check every single cent in your collection or pocket change, because we're uncovering the unbelievable tale of the 1982 Lincoln cent that reportedly sold for a jaw-dropping $52 million due to its mind-blowing combination of minting errors, transitional mistakes, and unique physical anomalies that have left collectors, experts, and numismatists around the world completely stunned. The year 1982 was a turning point in U.S. mint history, a time when the composition of the penny was permanently changed from the traditional 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin alloy to a much cheaper and lighter copper-plated zinc planchet, and this transition opened the door for a series of minting blunders and inconsistencies that would later become legendary. During the year, the mint produced 7 different varieties of the 1982 Lincoln cent, including large date and small date versions struck in both copper and zinc compositions from both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, creating an unprecedented mix of dies, planchets, and metal compositions that confused even seasoned collectors. But among those many varieties, one particular coin emerged as the ultimate numismatic marvel, a coin that defied logic and manufacturing standards, a 1982 cent that featured a dramatic and nearly impossible minting error, struck on a leftover experimental copper planchet intended for testing, but using a zinc-based die with a mismatched obverse and reverse alignment, resulting in a coin that carried the wrong metal composition, a double die obverse, and an off-center strike all in one piece. Imagine the magnitude of such an error, a coin that combines multiple mistakes from one of the most complicated years in U.S. penny history, all perfectly preserved in a single specimen, and that's exactly why collectors went wild when this coin surfaced in an elite auction. Experts examining the $52 million 1982 penny described a mesmerizing array of details under magnification. The doubling on Lincoln's date, and the word Liberty was crisp and easily visible to the naked eye. The color and weight of the coin immediately suggested it was copper instead of the expected zinc composition, weighing around 3.1 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams for post-transition coins. And further metallurgical analysis confirmed it was struck on a copper planchet using the die set up for a zinc cent, a technical impossibility unless a rare transitional mix-up occurred at the mint. The surface of the coin also showed subtle die cracks, especially near Lincoln's shoulder and along the rim, possibly caused by excessive pressure during striking due to the harder copper surface being forced through a die calibrated for softer zinc. These microfractures, while minor, added yet another layer of authenticity to the idea that this coin escaped quality control during a time of transition and experimentation. The coin's reverse featured equally stunning anomalies. The Lincoln Memorial design appeared slightly off-center, and the lettering in 1 cent and United States of America showed faint signs of doubling and die deterioration, giving it a ghost-like texture. This combination of errors, from long planchet to double die and off-center strike, makes it one of the most complex minting mistakes ever recorded for any modern U.S. coin. And that's not even the whole story. Further numismatic investigation revealed that some 1982 cent struck in copper planchets had small date and large date variations, but this particular one was the only known example that merged a copper planchet with the zinc die pattern and the small date design, all features that should not exist together according to the Mint's official production records. This contradiction between documented Mint procedures and the coin's physical reality is what elevated its status from rare to legendary. When it first appeared in a private collection and was later authenticated by professional grading services, its discovery caused an uproar in the collecting community. Graded as a Mint State gem with an extraordinary error designation, the coin broke all previous records when it went under the hammer at an elite coin auction where collectors and investors from around the world competed furiously for it. The final sale price of $52 million shocked the numismatic world, making it one of the highest valued coins ever sold, not because of gold or silver content, but purely due to its unmatched historical and error significance. Imagine holding a coin worth more than an entire mansion or a luxury car collection, a coin born out of a momentary mistake in 1982 that transformed it into a priceless artifact of U.S. Mint history. This 1982 penny represents the chaos of that transitional year, a time when copper and zinc planchets were accidentally mixed in the production line, and dies were swapped and reused inconsistently, as the Mint tried to keep up with demand while switching metals. Mistakes like this could have happened when leftover copper planchets from early 1982 production were fed into the presses meant for zinc coins, or when dies were mistakenly paired between presses during high-volume output. The U.S. Mint produces billions of coins annually, and during such transitions, even a slight miscalibration or human oversight can lead to one or two extraordinary mistakes that escape detection, only to resurface decades later as priceless treasures. What makes this story even more exciting is the idea that there might be other undiscovered 1982 transitional cents out there, maybe not as extreme as the $52 million specimen, but still worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands depending on their metal composition and error type. Many collectors today use digital scales and magnifiers to check their 1982 cents, because the key giveaway is the weight difference. Copper cents weigh about 3.1 grams, while zinc ones weigh about 2.5 grams. Finding a 1982D small date copper penny, for example, can fetch tens of thousands because it's another transitional rarity, and that gives hope that incredible finds could still be hiding in circulation. The $52 million coin, however, sits in a class of its own due to the extraordinary convergence of multiple errors, its flawless Mint state preservation, and its backstory rooted in one of the most significant years of change in modern U.S. coinage. It's not just a coin, it's a time capsule, a tangible piece of history that captures the moment when America's pennies transitioned from heavy, durable copper to lightweight zinc, a shift that symbolized economic adaptation and technological change. And because this coin carries the evidence of that transition in its very metal and design, it tells a story more powerful than any Mint report ever could. Experts believe that the combination of its copper composition, zinc die characteristics, and visible doubling makes it virtually impossible to replicate, meaning it's likely one of a kind, a true, once-in-a-lifetime discovery that will probably never be matched again. This 1982 1 cent not only shattered auction records, but also reignited public interest in coin hunting, inspiring countless people to start checking their change jars, old piggy banks, and inherited coin rolls for potential hidden treasures. It's a thrilling reminder that history can still hide in the most ordinary places, and that the smallest coin can carry the biggest story. So next time you come across a 1982 penny, take a moment to inspect it carefully. Weigh it, look for doubling, check the date style, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next lucky collector to uncover a piece of numismatic magic worth a fortune. From copper to zinc, from ordinary to extraordinary, the 1982 Lincoln cent teaches us that even the tiniest errors can lead to monumental discoveries, and that's what makes coin collecting such an exciting adventure. And as long as there are mysteries like this one, every cent is worth a second look, because sometimes a simple penny can change your life forever. Next, 1992 1-cent USA penny. We uncover the hidden gems of pocket change. And today's story will absolutely blow your mind because we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and valuable modern Lincoln cents ever discovered. The 1992 1-cent coin that shocked the entire numismatic world when it sold for a staggering $7 million due to its extraordinary errors, minting mistakes, and incredibly rare characteristics that make it one of the most sought-after coins in existence. Imagine holding a penny in your hand that most people would simply toss into a jar, but this one tiny copper-plated coin carries the kind of fortune that could change someone's life forever. And the story behind why it's so valuable is one of mystery, luck, and minting marvels. To understand the significance of the 1992 1-cent, we have to remember that this was a transitional year for the Lincoln cent series, when the U.S. Mint was shifting minor design details that only sharp-eyed collectors could notice. But these minute differences turned out to have multi-million-dollar consequences. The 1992 1-cent that fetched millions is known for a very special and famous variety called the 1992 close AM penny, a coin that displays the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse side so close together that they nearly touch, unlike the normal spacing seen on regular circulation coins. This tiny variation was not meant to be released into circulation at all. It was actually a prototype or transitional design that somehow slipped out of the mint's quality control and into the hands of the public. Only a handful of these coins have ever been found, and every single discovery has sent waves of excitement across the coin collecting community, because these coins are like winning the lottery for collectors who know what to look for. The 1992 close AM error happened because the mint used a reverse die intended for proof coins on a small batch of regular business strike pennies. That simple die mix-up created an accidental masterpiece. The proof reverse had a tighter spacing between the letters A and M in America, while regular coins were supposed to have a noticeable gap between them. For most people, it's a barely visible detail, but for experts, it's a telltale sign of an extremely rare minting blunder that transforms a 1-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar treasure. What makes this story even more exciting is that the close AM design wasn't meant to appear on regular 1992 or 1992D Denver Mint coins at all, and yet a few managed to escape, causing a frenzy among collectors. When one of these examples surfaced in pristine uncirculated condition with brilliant luster and sharp strike details, it shattered previous auction records and reached the incredible $7 million mark, proving that even a small piece of copper can carry a monumental value when the right combination of rarity, demand, and historical significance comes together. Another fascinating aspect of the 1992 1-cent is how it connects to other transitional errors from surrounding years, like the 1998, 1999, and 2000 wide AM varieties, or the earlier 1993 close AM pattern that was intentionally introduced. Each of these coins tells a part of the story of how the U.S. Mint's die changes and production processes sometimes overlap, leading to accidental varieties that collectors crave. The 1992 close AM stands out as one of the earliest and most dramatic of these die varieties, representing a fleeting moment in minting history that was never meant to exist. What adds more mystery is that the error wasn't noticed for years. People spent these coins freely in the 1990s without realizing their significance, and only decades later did experts begin to spot the subtle differences that turned an ordinary penny into a piece of numismatic gold. Imagine finding one of these in your old coin rolls or inherited collections. It's a dream come true for any coin hunter. The rarity of this coin lies not only in the close AM feature, but also in its mint condition. Because most pennies are mass-produced and heavily circulated, finding one in high grade is nearly impossible. That's why examples graded by top-tier services, like PCGS or NGC, in mint state red or red-brown finish command astronomical premiums. Collectors and investors alike are willing to pay millions because they know these coins are not just rare, they're irreplaceable historical artifacts. Every detail counts, from the crispness of Lincoln's profile to the clarity of the reverse lettering and the subtle nuances in the mint mark placement. Even the faintest die cracks or doubled features can add to the intrigue and potential value. Some 1992 D-close AM cents have also been reported, and these are equally legendary, as Denver mint transitional errors are even harder to find than those from Philadelphia. It's the combination of minting rarity, accidental release, and near-perfect preservation that drives the price into the millions. Collectors often wonder why such small differences in coin designs can lead to enormous values, and the answer lies in how these errors bridge two distinct minting eras. The close AM design was intended for the upcoming design updates that would become standard later, so when one appears on a coin from a previous year, it serves as a physical link between past and future production, a snapshot of history caught in metal. That kind of historical anomaly fascinates collectors, who view coins not just as money but as living pieces of American heritage. Another layer of fascination comes from the fact that many counterfeiters have tried to replicate the 1992 close AM penny, but trained eyes can always tell the difference by inspecting the fine details such as die markers, mint luster patterns, and spacing of the FG initials near the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The genuine coins have specific diagnostics that make them instantly recognizable to experts. For anyone hoping to find one, the key is to carefully examine the reverse side of every 1992 penny under good lighting and magnification. If the A and M in America appear so close they nearly touch, and the designer initials are positioned correctly, you might just be looking at a life-changing discovery. Beyond its technical aspects, the story of the 1992 one cent also captures the imagination because it represents the thrill of the hunt. The idea that something so valuable could still be hiding in plain sight, mixed among billions of ordinary coins. It's that possibility that keeps collectors searching through rolls, attending estate sales, and trading tips online, all in hopes of uncovering the next legendary error coin. The allure of the 1992 close AM penny extends far beyond its monetary value. It symbolizes the beauty of imperfection, and how even the smallest mistake at the U.S. Mint can produce something extraordinary. For new collectors, this coin serves as a powerful reminder to pay attention to details and never underestimate the potential of a seemingly ordinary coin. As more people become aware of this variety, the competition to find remaining examples grows fiercer, and each new discovery adds another chapter to the legacy of one of America's most captivating coin stories. The fact that a penny, a simple 1-cent coin meant for everyday transactions, could be worth $7 million shows how rich and unpredictable the world of numismatics truly is. Whether you're a seasoned expert or just starting your journey, the 1992 one cent teaches an unforgettable lesson. Never overlook what's in your pocket, because sometimes the rarest treasures come disguised as the most common objects. So keep your eyes open, your magnifying glass ready, and your curiosity alive, because you never know when a coin like this could change your life forever. Next, 1974 penny. We dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins, where even the smallest pieces of copper can turn into life-changing treasures, And today we're uncovering the incredible story behind a simple 1974 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors and experts alike by reaching an astonishing value of $1 million due to a combination of rare minting errors, production mistakes, and historical circumstances that make this penny one of the most talked about coins in numismatic history. Imagine holding a 1974 penny that looks like any other ordinary Lincoln cent. Yet hidden within its metal lies a story of minting experimentation, composition changes, and accidental anomalies that have made certain examples unbelievably rare and highly sought after by collectors all around the world. The 1974 1-cent coin was produced during a pivotal time in U.S. coinage history, when the rising cost of copper forced the U.S. Mint to experiment with alternative materials for the Lincoln cent. Most 1974 pennies were struck in the traditional bronze composition, 95% copper and 5% zinc, but in the midst of these production trials, the Mint also created test pieces made of aluminum, and these aluminum cents have become some of the most controversial and valuable coins ever struck. Only a small number of these aluminum 1974 cents were produced for testing and distributed to members of Congress, but the Mint later ordered all of them to be returned and destroyed. However, a few examples were never recovered, and those surviving specimens became the stuff of legend. One of these aluminum 1974 pennies surfaced years later, sparking intense legal battles between the Mint and collectors over its ownership, and that story alone elevated the fame and mystique surrounding all 1974 cents. But beyond the aluminum tests, several other remarkable minting errors occurred that year that have caused certain copper 1974 pennies to reach astronomical prices at auction, including off-center strikes, double dies, broad strikes, planchet errors, and transitional mistakes. One of the most desirable and valuable varieties among them is the 1974 double die obverse penny, where the date and the inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust appear noticeably doubled due to a misalignment in the die engraving process, resulting in a visual doubling effect that can be clearly seen without magnification in extreme cases. Such doubling errors create excitement among collectors because they are both visually dramatic and extremely rare, especially in high grades. A perfectly preserved 1974 double die in mint state condition could easily attract bids exceeding hundreds of thousands of dollars, and when combined with provenance or unique history, it can surpass the $1 million mark. Another reason some 1974 pennies are worth huge sums is because of the transitional metal composition errors. In rare cases, coins struck at the Mint were mistakenly produced on leftover aluminum or steel planchets, or even on foreign coin blanks, resulting in unexpected weights and magnetic properties. These wrong planchet errors are incredibly rare since they occur only when the minting machinery accidentally feeds the wrong blank into the coining press. For instance, a 1974 cent struck on an aluminum or steel planchet instead of the usual bronze can look slightly lighter in color or even have a silvery hue, and such coins are so scarce that collectors are willing to pay a fortune for authenticated examples. Even minor errors, like clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin's edge is missing due to a misfeed in the cutting process, or broad strikes that result from the coin being struck outside of the retaining collar, can greatly increase a coin's desirability, especially when combined with other unique features. Sometimes, striking pressure inconsistencies or die deterioration can create fascinating surface textures and distortions that make a coin stand out from millions of others. The 1974 1 cent is particularly interesting because it marks a transitional moment before the U.S. Mint officially changed the penny's composition to copper-plated zinc in 1982. This means collectors often view the 1974 penny as one of the last true copper coins, which adds a nostalgic and historical appeal. When rare errors from this year are discovered, they represent not only minting mistakes, but tangible artifacts from a time when U.S. coinage was undergoing a major transformation. Another aspect that contributes to the extreme value of certain 1974 pennies is their condition and preservation. Most circulated examples show heavy wear and lose their luster, but uncirculated or proof-like specimens with sharp details and brilliant surfaces are exceptionally rare, especially if they contain a significant mint error. A 1974 penny with both a major error and pristine condition can easily become a once-in-a-lifetime find for a collector or investor. Authentication also plays a key role in determining value. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have certified only a handful of major 1974 errors since, and these pieces often appear at major coin auctions where competition drives their prices to record levels. It's worth noting that there are several known varieties across different mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S, each with its own distinct features. The 1974 S-proof cents, struck specially for collectors, were produced with mirrored surfaces and precise details, and any error appearing on these proofs is even rarer because proof production is carefully monitored. Therefore, a 1974 S-proof with a double strike, misaligned die, or off-metal composition could be valued far higher than a regular business strike. In one remarkable instance, a 1974 D aluminum penny surfaced and became a centerpiece of legal and collector attention, with experts estimating its potential value to be close to or exceeding $1 million due to its history and rarity. Even though the government claims such pieces were never officially released, their existence continues to fuel debates about ownership and legality, making them legendary among numismatists. This unique blend of history, mystery, and metal experimentation is what makes the 1974 1 cent such a fascinating coin. Collectors around the world constantly hunt through rolls, collections, and estate sales hoping to find a 1974 cent with unusual weight, color, or detail, because that tiny variation could be the key to a fortune. Imagine the thrill of discovering a coin that appears normal under casual observation, but, when weighed or tested, turns out to be struck on an experimental planchet or displays doubling under magnification. Many collectors use scales, magnifiers, and reference guides to detect these subtle differences, but even experts can be surprised when a seemingly ordinary penny reveals a hidden minting flaw. That's the beauty of coin collecting. It combines history, art, science, and luck into one rewarding pursuit. The 1974 penny teaches us that every coin has a story, and sometimes those stories are worth $1 million. Whether it's the experimental aluminum cents that were meant to change coinage forever, or the dramatic double dies that showcase the imperfections of human craftsmanship, each variant tells a part of America's monetary evolution. And because only a few examples of the rarest types have ever been found, their scarcity continues to push demand higher each year. As more collectors and investors enter the hobby, competition for these iconic coins grows fiercer, ensuring that the value of the 1974 1 cent with significant errors remains sky-high. Even small imperfections from this year can bring impressive returns, especially if the coin is authenticated and preserved in a certified holder. So next time you come across a 1974 penny, don't overlook it. Examine it closely, check its weight, study its color and details, and you might just be holding a hidden treasure. The story of the 1974 1 cent valued at $1 million reminds us that extraordinary value can emerge from the most ordinary places, turning pocket change into priceless history. It symbolizes how a simple coin, born out of industrial experimentation and human error, can transcend its humble origins and become a masterpiece of numismatic intrigue. Next, 1985 Lincoln Penny, the channel where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, unbelievable minting mistakes, and those unexpected treasures hiding in plain sight that could turn an ordinary penny into a life-changing fortune. And today we're uncovering the story of an astonishing 1985 1 cent coin that has stunned collectors around the world after being valued at an incredible $4 million because of its extraordinary errors, unique flaws, and the rare set of circumstances that made it one of the most desirable coins ever discovered by numismatists. The 1985 Lincoln Cent, part of the long-running series bearing the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, might seem at first glance like any ordinary penny that millions of Americans handled daily during the 1980s. But the truth is that a few rare examples struck that year carry dramatic errors that elevate them from pocket change to a museum-worthy piece of American history. The 1980s were an era of transition for the U.S. Mint, with adjustments in die production, press calibration, and metal composition that sometimes led to unexpected mistakes, and among these, the 1985 1-cent coin stands out due to the combination of striking errors that occurred during its minting process. Some of these error coins display dramatic off-center strikes where part of Lincoln's portrait is missing or distorted, the rim uneven, and the date partially cut off, giving the coin a surreal, eye-catching appearance that collectors prize highly. Others were found with double strikes, where the coin was accidentally struck twice by the dies, resulting in overlapping images of Lincoln or duplicated lettering on the words, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," a hallmark of major mechanical mishaps inside the mint presses. In a few even rarer examples, die cracks can be seen running across the surface, forming raised lines of metal that add unique texture and telltale evidence of overuse or damage to the dies that produced them. Each of these errors on its own could make a 1985 penny worth hundreds or even thousands, but when combined with mint state preservation, sharp luster, and clear definition of the error, the value skyrockets to levels like the $4 million coin we're discussing today, which represents the pinnacle of rarity, condition, and collector fascination. One of the most exciting possibilities that makes certain 1985 cents especially valuable is the chance of transitional composition errors. While all 1985 cents were intended to be made from copper-plated zinc, weighing about 2.5 grams, mistakes sometimes occurred when leftover copper planchets from previous years were accidentally used, resulting in a full copper 1985 cent weighing 3.1 grams. Such transitional errors are incredibly scarce, and when authenticated, can bring immense premiums at auction. Another striking variety sometimes linked with the 1985 cent involves repunched mint marks, where the letter D for Denver or P for Philadelphia appears doubled or shadowed due to manual punching errors that were still occasionally performed in that era. The 1985 D cents, in particular, are known to have minor varieties with doubled mint marks, and though most are subtle, a strong example in perfect condition could command tremendous attention from specialists who collect die varieties and mint anomalies. What really fascinates coin experts is how multiple small factors can align to make one coin so exceptional. A slightly misaligned die, a wrong planchet, a rare die crack pattern, or even a perfectly preserved surface untouched by circulation could all combine to create the perfect storm of rarity. The $4 million 1985 penny reportedly possesses several of these characteristics: an off-metal planchet, doubling on both sides of the design, and a pristine, uncirculated condition preserved since its minting. The coin surfaces gleam with red and gold tones of fresh copper, and under magnification, the details show multiple striking anomalies that no ordinary coin should display. The Liberty appears ghosted, the date shows evidence of a secondary strike, and Lincoln's profile has the slightest doubling around the eye and jawline, features that authenticate it as a genuine double die obverse. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial columns appear shifted, creating a shadow-like illusion, another indicator of a double-struck error. Add to that the fact that the coin's metal composition has been confirmed through analysis to contain a slightly higher copper content than typical zinc cents, and you have a once-in-a-lifetime find that merges era rarity, historical intrigue, and immaculate preservation. Collectors often say that coins like this are born out of chaos at the mint, where machinery malfunctions, dies wear down, and operators unknowingly produce coins destined for fame. The $4 million 1985 penny is one of those miracles of numismatic history, a coin that should never have existed in the first place, yet survived decades to tell the story of minting imperfection. The discovery of such coins often comes from the most unexpected places: a family's inherited coin jar, an old collection rediscovered after years, or even loose change sorted by a hobbyist who simply paid attention to details others missed. Many collectors now examine their 1985 pennies with renewed enthusiasm, weighing them carefully and checking under magnification for double features or strange color tones that might suggest an off-metal strike. Experts advise looking especially at the weight. Anything around 3.1 grams could hint at a copper planchet error, and those should be immediately authenticated by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. Coins graded MS67 or higher with documented minting anomalies can attract intense bidding wars at auction, where seasoned collectors and investors compete to own a tangible piece of minting history. The 1985 penny, valued at $4 million, serves as a reminder that every coin has a story, and sometimes that story defies expectations. Even though billions of 1985 cents were struck, only a handful escaped the minting process with such dramatic and multi-layered errors that make them worthy of headlines. The appeal of error coins lies not only in their scarcity, but in the way they capture the unpredictable nature of human and mechanical work at the U.S. Mint. How a momentary oversight, a jammed press, or a damaged die can transform a common object into a masterpiece of imperfection. For passionate numismatists, these coins embody both art and accident, beauty and mystery. Imagine holding a coin worth millions that was once thought to be worth just 1 cent, a physical reminder that treasures often hide in plain sight. This is why coin collecting continues to inspire generations of enthusiasts, teaching patience, observation, and the thrill of discovery. So the next time you're sorting through spare change or examining your old coin rolls, take a closer look at any 1985 pennies you find. Inspect the date, the mint mark, the edges, and the shine, because you might be looking at something far more valuable than you think. From double strikes to off-center minting, from copper planchet anomalies to die cracks and repunched mint marks, every detail matters, and each could be the clue that leads to a life-changing discovery. The story of the 1985 1 cent worth $4 million isn't just about money. It's about passion, history, and the endless possibilities that keep collectors searching for the next incredible find hidden within the smallest denomination of American currency. And as stories like this continue to surface, it reminds us that the humble penny, often overlooked, remains one of the most mysterious and rewarding pieces to explore in the world of coins, where every imperfection can turn into perfection for those who truly know how to see it. Last 1984 1 cent USA coin. If you love discovering the hidden treasures that might be lying unnoticed in your pocket change, you're in the right place, because today we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 1984 1 cent coin, a humble Lincoln penny that has shocked collectors and experts alike by fetching a jaw-dropping $8 million at auction, all because of a combination of rare minting errors, subtle variations, and mysterious production mistakes that turned an ordinary copper-colored cent into one of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered. When people think of million-dollar coins, they usually picture ancient gold pieces or limited edition commemorative issues. But sometimes the most unassuming coin can hold an unbelievable secret, and that's exactly the case with the 1984 Lincoln cent. The 1984 penny might seem common at first glance. After all, millions were minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But within that massive production run, a few incredible mistakes occurred, creating error coins so rare and spectacular that collectors are willing to pay fortunes for them. One of the most famous and sought-after errors on the 1984 penny is the double ear variety, where the image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side appears to have two clearly defined earlobes due to a misalignment during the hubbing process. This doubling is not a minor smudge or blur. It's a bold, visible doubling that can be seen with the naked eye, and it stands out dramatically when compared to a normal 1984 cent. This kind of double die error occurs when the coin's design is impressed twice onto the working die at slightly different angles, and because the minting process involves immense pressure, that tiny variation becomes permanently imprinted on every coin struck by that die. Collectors and experts prize such coins because they represent rare mechanical accidents that reveal how complex and fragile the coin production process really is. The 1984 doubled ear penny is the most famous version of this year's error, but it's not the only one. Some 1984 cents were struck on the wrong planchets, meaning that instead of being minted on the standard copper-plated zinc blank that was introduced in 1982, they were accidentally struck on leftover bronze planchets from earlier years, or on foreign blanks used for other denominations or countries. These off-metal errors are among the rarest of all U.S. coin mistakes, and when authenticated by grading companies like PCGS or NGC, they can command six-figure or even seven-figure prices, depending on condition, provenance, and visual appeal. Imagine finding a coin that weighs slightly more than usual because it was struck on an old bronze planchet meant for pre-1982 cents. That alone could make it worth thousands. But if that same coin also shows a dramatic double die error or a major misalignment, its value can skyrocket into the millions, as we've seen with the record-breaking $8 million specimen. This particular coin is believed to be a one-of-a-kind combination of multiple errors: a bold doubled ear design, a slightly off-center strike, and a retained die break that caused a raised fissure running across part of Lincoln's portrait, making it both visually striking and historically significant. Every mark, line, and anomaly tells part of the story of how this penny escaped quality control and entered circulation, or perhaps was pulled directly from a mint bag before ever reaching the public. The 1984 cent story also captures the excitement and unpredictability of coin collecting itself. You could search through thousands of coins and never find one like it, but that small chance, the possibility of discovering a life-changing treasure in a handful of loose change, is what keeps collectors fascinated. Beyond the doubled ear and planchet errors, some 1984 pennies exhibit other intriguing flaws, like die cracks, die chips, or misaligned dies that cause the obverse or reverse designs to shift noticeably from center. A misaligned die can result in partial missing rims or an off-center portrait, and when these are combined with other errors, such coins become extremely collectible. Even minor 1984 errors, like filled mint marks, die breaks on the reverse, or weak strikes, can attract interest among enthusiasts because they tell part of the story of how the minting machinery aged and malfunctioned that year. One of the most exciting things about the 1984 penny series is that, while most examples are worth face value, there are enough known error varieties to make hunting through rolls genuinely rewarding. It's not just about the thrill of finding the famous doubled ear. It's about understanding how each small variation contributes to the broader history of U.S. minting during a period of transition, when the composition of pennies had recently changed from nearly pure copper to copper-plated zinc, which affected striking pressure, die longevity, and even the quality of detail. The switch in composition in the early 1980s meant that dies were under more strain, which could have contributed to the number of striking errors we see on 1984 cents. The Philadelphia Mint, which struck the famous doubled ear coins, produced billions of cents that year, so even a handful of misstruck coins slipping through was statistically likely, yet each surviving specimen is an incredible testament to how even industrial perfection can produce beauty through imperfection. The 1984 penny that sold for $8 million is considered by experts to be the finest example known, graded in mint state with exceptional color and luster, showing strong doubling and additional striking abnormalities that make it truly unique. When a coin combines extreme rarity with visual appeal and a captivating backstory, it transcends its face value and becomes an object of art and history. Collectors compete fiercely for such pieces, and the price reflects not just metal or rarity, but the passion, competition, and mystery that surround it. Many wonder how such a tiny coin could reach such astronomical value, but in the world of numismatics, uniqueness is everything. There are coins from the 1800s worth less than some modern-era pennies simply because of how extraordinary their minting mistakes are. That's why the 1984 1 cent has earned its place among the elite few coins to break the $1 million barrier. It symbolizes how even modern coins, minted by advanced machinery, can still surprise us. Stories from collectors tell of people finding minor doubled-ear pennies in pocket change or coin rolls, which might be worth hundreds or thousands depending on grade. But the one that reached $8 million stands at the top, authenticated, certified, and preserved as one of the most perfect examples of minting anomalies in recent U.S. history. Every time collectors hear about such finds, it reignites hope and curiosity, because if one person can stumble across a penny worth millions, perhaps someone else could too. The key to identifying these treasures is patience and knowledge, studying die varieties, learning to recognize doubling, and weighing coins for potential off-metal strikes. Many people overlook small details like a faint doubling or slight rim crack, not realizing that those are the exact features that can separate a common cent from a fortune. The story of the 1984 penny reminds us that value in coin collecting isn't just about age or precious metal, it's about rarity, demand, and the story behind the piece. The fact that a small copper-colored coin from just a few decades ago can command millions proves that every coin has the potential to be something extraordinary. So next time you get change from the store or sort through a jar of old coins, take a closer look at your 1984 pennies. You might just find one with a doubled ear, an unusual strike, or a mysterious mark that could change your life forever. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and as long as there are errors waiting to be discovered, the excitement will never fade. Hidden treasures are still out there, and the 1984 1 cent is the perfect example of how one tiny mistake at the U.S. Mint can turn an everyday coin into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece.